Hi everyone, Nick here from Conservation Careers and welcome to the podcast. Now, what happens when you stop fearing sharks and start listening to them? In this inspiring episode, we dive into the extraordinary world of Cristina Zenato, who's a trailblazing shark behaviourist, cave explorer and professional diver who has spent over 3 decades in the Bahamas. As Director of Training for the Underwater Explorer Society and founder of the non-profit People of the Water, Cristina has dedicated her life to understanding and protecting the ocean's most misunderstood creatures. Join us as we explore her fascinating journey from her roots in Italy and the Congo to the depths of underwater caves and the intimate world of sharks. Cristina shares powerful stories of connection, resilience, and redefining success, whilst offering rich advice for anyone dreaming of a career in marine conservation. Whether you're intrigued by the emotional intelligence of sharks, curious about cave diving, or navigating your own conservation career path, this episode is packed with insight, heart, and raw inspiration. Enjoy.
Well, my name is Cristina Zenato, and I'm a shark behaviorist, a cave explorer, all around diving, scuba diving professional conservationist.
Brilliant. Lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing your time and jumping on the podcast. I was just saying in a little pre-chat, it was one of our members who's been following you on LinkedIn who recommended we'd speak. And once I kind of went to your website and read your LinkedIn post, I can sort of see why. I'm really inspired to be talking to you about your work. You've got such a depth of knowledge on sharks. Your cave diving looks incredible in the Bahamas and the work you've been doing on that. So, and we're going to talk about like marine conservation careers as well, more generally. So, yeah, lovely to have you with us. Thanks again for your time. Where to get going? Well, you've dedicated your life to exploring the ocean, advocating for sharks and unlocking the hidden mysteries of the underwater world. Can you maybe start by taking us back to a moment where it all began? Like, where did your love and connection with the ocean come from? You know, when did you know this was your calling?
Well, the connection to the ocean comes from my family. My mom is, I'm originally Italian, and my mom is from a part of Italy, Liguria, which is like very much connected to the wind, the waves, and the ocean in itself. And my father was very passionate about water. He was an ex-military diver, like special forces, pure oxygen rebreathers. I had these black and white pictures of daddy's adventures.
Ah,
But that passion for the water stayed. And so both of them kind of like transferred that passion for the water to me. As a matter of fact, I come from a region very close to the Dolomites, but I didn't discover mountaineer till I was almost in my 40s. So because my parents just took me to the water. So that's
yeah,
where it comes from. The specific of the shark comes from very much a tacky movie in a way, but I would say my entire upbringing. I grew up in the central of the savannah of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the rainforest of the Republic of Congo. At the time was known as Zaire and respectively Congo. In just that I think was maybe the base in hindsight. Insight is always
yeah,
2020. The
yeah,
base was that when we were growing up as kids, the parents did not go around and kill every mosquito, every snake, every crocodile in the river, every animal that surrounded us in a wild Africa to make it safer for kids. The mentality was the children learned the rules of nature. The children learned where to go, how to go, what not to do as to coexist with all these animals.
yeah,
And in inside, maybe that is the base of what formed me. It was this coexistence that happened between the local people as foreigners being there and this entire wild nature, which obviously could not be tamed. And
yeah,
so we had rules and regulations, and we had to learn about them to respect them and their environment. And I think that transferred. My father then instilled in me the same thing about the water.
mm,
He was never worried about the animals. He always said there are no monsters in the sea, only the one you make up in your head. But he was very cautious about the ocean, for example, the rules, the wind, the waves, the rip currents, when to go in the water, when not. Because the other teaching is we do not belong to the water. We spend
mm,
9 months of our lives in water, but
mm,
when we come out, we kind of forget and we do not belong to the water. We have no more gill slits. We have no capability of thermal protections. We can't see, we can't hear correctly, we can't even speak. And
Mm.
so all these, I think it's kind of like a pot put together that created, I guess, who I am. It created this space over which then I built through the years.
Mm. That's so fascinating. It came from your parents and the connection came through your father, particularly. Just out of interest, as a side, like, what did your father do? Like, why were you living in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and what was the background there?
Yes, he was an engineer
Right,
for
yeah,
construction companies that were hired by the government.
yeah,
And the construction company used to go in with like the entire know-how, engineering machines that maybe a country like the Congo could not afford at the time. And so they'll come in to build roads, railways, they'll hire like all the local people, but like the entire, let's say, intellectual property, understanding how to build the road or how to build the railway, come in with this enormous company. And some of the workers decided to travel by themselves, but some were allowed to travel with the family. And so my dad always had my mom and I in tow. Um, when I was born, I think my father came back a week later, and then my father had to leave again, and my mom basically packed me up and took a plane. And you need to understand, this is 1971 when I was born, 1973. She packed me up. She was a 23-year-old woman who
yeah.
basically grabbed a plane and went down to the Congo to meet my father to and that's the kind of life that I lived. Very energized parents, very in tune with what they were doing, but also maybe with very much a spirit of independence.
Yeah.
It was no surprise that by the time I reached 18, I was just spring loaded, ready to go. I already been traveling at age of 16 and 17. I already sought different opportunities, a rail tour Europe, working for a summer in Germany, because I came from the same spirit, both of my mom and my dad.
Christina, I love what you just said that you were spring loaded and ready to go. But can you join the dots then? Like, what have been the when you were 18 and you were fired away from your family, you became independent. You were already staunchly independent, as you just said. But like, what have been the kind of key moments or stepping stones? There might be jobs or instances that have really kind of helped to get you to where you are today. Before we discuss your work at present, like, yeah,
Yeah.
what has been your journey?
Well, the journey is very interesting because I grew up very much not exposed to what would be considered STEM. And so I grew up in a mentality when my father worked, my mom and I were not allowed to visit the unfinished bridge or the unfinished tunnel because, women
Mm.
brought bad luck.
Really?
So
Right.
yes, very much. So it's very interesting because it's like, how do you think about becoming an engineer? And that's
Yeah.
the reason for me, representation is very important.
Yeah.
How do you think to becoming a woman engineer when as a woman, you're not even allowed on the construction site until the construction site is finished because the workers think you're bringing bad luck.
Gosh.
So I very much grew up without the concept of STEM, and my background is not in STEM. My
Yeah.
background is in languages.
Yeah.
The other fascination I had beside the ocean was I wanted to learn to speak all the languages of the world. It was just something that I thought it was the coolest thing ever to be able to communicate. And this came from living in the Congo. What happened is I remember I was 3 years old and I was thirsty, and I went to my mom and I said, "Mom, I'm thirsty." And she said, "You go over to the gentleman over there and you ask, un verre d'eau, s'il vous plaît." And it could have been an invented language. It was just like, so she made me repeat, un verre d'eau, s'il vous plaît, un verre d'eau, s'il vous plaît. And so I went up to the gentleman and I said, un verre d'eau, s'il vous plaît. And poof, magically, this glass of water appeared. And I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
So it was very much the second one I remember I wanted to play with my doll or something. And they were cleaning the room. So she went up and she said, "S'il vous plaît, puis-je avoir ma poupée?" And she made me repeat the sentence. And so it was like this connection in this child's brain that
Mm.
these weird words that were coming out of my mouth had a meaning
Yeah.
and had a way of communicating with the people around me. And so I decided I will speak all the languages in the world. So fast forward from Africa, my father decided that the family needed to be back in Italy as I turned a teenagers, as I turned into womanhood. He wanted to expose me to my culture.
Yeah.
Didn't go too well. And he wanted me to grow up within Italy. And so the choices for schools at the time were they were, I would say, unlimited in a way, but they were
Mm.
limited in my brain. And so I
Mm.
was like, I want to learn languages, but I don't want to work as a teacher. I did not want to teach languages. That much I knew. And so
Yeah.
there was an experimental school. We're talking about 1980s, 1985, an experimental school that had the possibility of learning multiple languages while preparing you to become an hotel manager, a travel agency owner or manager.
Mm.
Very much a tourism industry was the beginning of the training in the tourism industry. And I said, you know what? That sounds like me
Mm.
because now I can learn languages, but then I can also work in a service industry. I don't know if you remember the movie Julia Roberts' Pretty Woman.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
concierge gentleman, the one with the jacket, that's what we were being trained to be, not
Yeah.
just being the clerk. We were just the concierge person.
Yeah.
And so I took that, and those languages are the one that landed me here in the Bahamas
Right.
because
Right.
at the time, so I finished that. I went to Germany. I continued my degree in hotel management. I improved my German. I had my English, my French, my Spanish, my Italian, and then I moved back to Italy. When I moved back to Italy, I started the career into main hotel in the center of Verona, where we
Mm.
dealt with all the clients for fairs and the
Mm-hmm.
arena and the opera.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 years into this, my boss called me and she said, oh, the season is coming out. We're very busy. You have vacation starting tomorrow. I was like, what do you mean tomorrow? So I actually went to the travel agency that I had practice in, and I gave him 5 destinations. I said, I want to learn how to scuba dive. And I had the Red Sea, the Maldives, the Seychelles, the Mauritius, and Madagascar. Some were closed, some were in Ramadan, and some were too expensive.
Uh-huh.
And so they said, well, we have this option in the Bahamas and it's discounted. It's like a honeymoon destination. We had a couple of cancellations. I'm like, sure. I said, do they have a diving instructor? And they said, yes. So I boarded the plane, came here on vacation, learned how to scuba dive, hit the ocean. And on my first checkout out, there were sharks, Caribbean reef sharks swimming around us. And I surfaced going, you have sharks? And their answer was tonight, yes, dummy, of course you have sharks. But you need to understand, I was told by my dad, and it was true. All my time spent in the Mediterranean, all my time spent in the Atlantic and the Congo, all my ocean snorkeling, freediving, I never seen
Mm.
a shark. And my
Mm.
father said, they're not these ferocious
Mm.
predators, as they don't like us. They just gonna stay away from us.
Mm.
And here I go on my first scuba dive, and there's like Caribbean reef sharks out of the wazoo swimming around us. So I surfaced, and I was just like, this is cool. I very much like the island. It triggered back some of the memories of the Congo. One, the heat that
Mm.
I've been missing by living in Germany and Italy, something I
Mm.
didn't really live well
Mm-hmm.
without, and the people.
Mm.
There was mixed colors in this country, which was none in the country that I went back to.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself feeling more at home.
Mm.
In coincidentally, they were looking for someone who spoke multiple languages to work at the front desk.
Yeah.
And so in a bathing suit and a sarong and bare feet, I went in and sat down in front of the lady. To this day, she is my friend. And she is Italian, German, living in Canada. And she basically swapped from English to French, from French to Italian. And she said,
Yeah.
when can you start? And I said, well, I have a week vacation. And then I need to go home and sort out a couple of things.
Yeah.
And so I finished my vacation. I went home. And the couple of things were my job, my boyfriend, the apartment we share, the car, but small stuff. I sorted it all out, packed a duffel bag, bought a pair of used fin, a used wetsuit, and came back to this island. And
Wow.
everybody thought I was one insane. And the people here thought I was one of those people that chase the dream,
Mm.
drops everything, and within 6 months goes, this is too much. I can't deal with this. I want to go back home, which I've seen a lot happening in my career.
Mm.
And that was 31 years ago.
Wow. So 31 years ago, you saw your first shark, and it feels like
Yes.
we're going to talk about obviously your work on sharks and everything that you've been passionate about soon, but it feels like that has been a bit of a turning point. And how did you feel, interestingly, how did you feel when you saw your first shark on that first dive then? You weren't expecting them. Did you feel scared? Did you feel excited? Like what feelings were arisen in you as you had your first interaction with sharks? Obviously, they'll be different now, but yeah.
I don't recall correctly, but I was very excited,
Right.
extremely
Yeah.
excited. I was curious. I was very much curious of watching these animals swimming around us and just like not even paying attention, but they would make eye contact. So they'll swim by and you looked at them and they will make eye contact. And all I wanted was more. All I wanted was
Hmm.
more time on the water, more time with the sharks. I
Mm.
It took me several, I would say more than a decade to kind of like tone down the need for more. Although my husband to this day, if we're on the island, we go 3, 4 days without diving, he looks at me and he's like, you need to go diving. Apparently changes my mood, but I disagree. But I had I needed more. All I
Yeah.
wanted was time
Yeah.
with them, time on the water. And I was just like, how am I going to do this? And that's where I went. A lot of people think that the decision to drop everything was the courageous decision. I don't think so. I was 22 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't try things at 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, when are we going to try them?
Yeah.
The older we get, the harder it is to drop it all and start all over again. So
Yeah.
for me, the hardest part was not the trying.
Yeah.
At 22, if you don't like it, you go back to Italy at 23. You haven't lost anything. I think that what people maybe need to focus on and realize, and for me, is my badge, my thing where I say, what is my maybe badge of honor, if we want to
Yeah.
call it like that,
Yeah.
is the fact that I actually stayed.
Yeah.
A lot of people tried. A lot of young people did what I did. A lot of people still do. Young
Mm.
people do what I do. Go off, become a diving instructor, do it for a couple of years. And then there's all these pressures. You need to have a real job. When are you going to stop playing? I was just watching a documentary last night about a friend of mine who is a cave explorer as well. And she was saying the questions that they asked her, and I'm kind of like, yep, check, check, check. When you're going to settle down, when you're going to have kids. And
Yeah.
so all these pressures made a lot of these people then change. And I'm not saying it's wrong. That was their choice, their desires.
Mm.
But there was a lot of pressures from the outside,
Mm.
not on the initial decision, but on the decision to continue this path.
Mm.
This path that is considered unorthodox, that is considered um, uh, not ordinary.
Mm.
And in a certain way, I felt that it maybe scared people.
Mm.
Is scared that I will be so determined in my choices, and a lot of people could not connect. There's
Mm.
people on the island 30 years later that tell me, oh, now they're in their 50s like I am. But back then they were in their 20s and were always out partying or drinking or going out boating. And now that maybe they're settled, they have a family, they look at me and they said, I could not understand you way back then. I
Mm.
could not figure you out. It
Mm.
did not make sense how you enjoy that. I couldn't see it. And it says, now we see it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and so I think that was maybe the hardest part is other people
Mm.
seeing that at that time. Now everybody wants to know how to do what I do, how to get here. And I'm like, well, 31 years in the making.
Yeah. Hence our chat. Yeah. But it's interesting that the pressure of society and the expectations of others and how you've had to follow your passion to break through that.
Very high. And it's something maybe
Yeah.
we need to talk about during this podcast if there are
Yeah.
people that are aspiring, because that pressure is brutal.
Yeah.
It's not never mind the pressure on the water, is the pressure of conformity, is the
Yeah.
pressure of mentality, is the pressure of what they call moral tribes.
Yeah. 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 And I think also the pressure of success, I would say too, like if you're
Mhm.
following a path, like when are you going to get a job? When are you going to get the promotion and so forth? And
But what is the
when you're young,
definition of success? That's the other problem. The
yeah,
problem is, what is the definition of success? Is the
yeah,
house we've grown long, two kids, the cars, the
yeah,
dogs, um, a mortgage,
yeah.
a steady job, or what is success?
Is it
And that
following
I
your
think
passion? Is it
is,
happiness? Is it impact? Yeah, sorry, I'm cutting you off. Yeah,
no, no, you're fine. You're good. You're right.
yeah, yeah. Um, I'd love to know more about your work then. So we've kind of touched on the fact that you've obviously got a deep passion and connection with sharks, 31 years now in the Bahamas. Tell us about some of the work you've done and some of the things you've discovered about this really fascinating, often like misunderstood species too. Like how would you sort of describe the work that you do to others?
So my work is at the base to make a living. I am a professional scuba diver.
Yep.
However, because of the amount of time and effort that I put into it and what I call learning laterally, not only vertically, I offer unique programs. So if you come, you're not going to find me on a boat guiding a bunch of divers. Been there, done that, built my thing.
Yeah.
My specialties are taking people to interact with the same sharks they interact with,
Mm.
leading trips around the Bahamas on a sail catamarans with my husband, where we take a group of 6 divers to encounter tigers, great hammerheads, oceanic whitetips, lemons, Caribbean, doing educational work on the boat while Kevin does all the photography and cinematography, doing the same kind of trips to South Africa to meet another 10 different species of sharks on a different trip.
Mm.
And then cave teaching, specifically, I do cave rebreathers, side mount teaching. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how we make a living.
Mm-hmm.
From that living, we also do the research and then the conservation. So it's a big calderon. If you were trying to ask me which one is which, there's no beginning, no end.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be sitting there doing the emails for work and then working on the project for conservation and then preparing for the next trip or the next expedition in a big mix.
Mm.
So, like I said, financially, we support ourselves through the work, but then outside of the work, we're able to use the work to also promote conservation, to promote education. We host the scholars, we train people for free, young people that come, and there's a process, obviously, to be selected that can stay up to 2, 3 weeks a month and learn from us. And they basically enter then the world of what is conservation or scuba diving. But the understanding is that everybody, I would love to have a job that allows me to go cave exploring and remove hooks from sharks.
Yeah.
But those are not my jobs. Those are the consequences of an absolute obsession and passion. In
Yeah.
order to do that, I take people to do this. I run the trips. Don't get me wrong. I love doing everything I do.
Yeah.
And after 30 years, I've been able to carve very much a job that I only do everything I do,
Yeah.
besides doing social media, which, ugh. But when I'm
That's
underwater,
it.
I'm fine. Um, and so it's a mix. So, for
Yeah.
example, we're cave divers and
Yeah.
cave explorers. I'm a cave diving instructor. But
Yeah.
then on our time off, we'll go and look for caves. So we'll go hiking, we'll go whacking through the bush, we'll find water, we'll start going, taking the gear, we'll find the cave, we'll lay lines. And then we report this data to the Bahama National Trust, to the Museum of Antiquities. And we provide the Bahamian and the Bahamian governments and entities with this information to actually extend the protection over the same areas where then we go diving. Do we
Yeah.
take then guests in it? Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
But we also establish rules. We have a cave, we have established we're only going to take one guest at a time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is the interest of the cave and the interest of preserving this beautiful environment while sharing it, but in
Yeah.
a comfortable manner. And so that is the work. Like
Yeah.
the work is I go diving with the sharks, but
Yeah.
then I collect data every day. I come back and I have a huge log.
Yeah.
Who is there? What were
Yeah.
they were doing? What were the weather conditions?
Yeah.
What was happening? And so through this extensive repetitive data,
Hmm.
some research is 2 weeks mine. Many uh, conservationists will tell you that it could be a 10 to 20 year study to
Mm.
receive the correct amount of data. Dr. Samuel Gruber did that with the sharks in Bimini Shark Lab in Bimini. It was like 20 years plus to get like a whole network picture of who's who and how the parents and how the baby sharks go back to reproduce where the parents were and all of that. So mine in the behavior is the same thing. And that's where we discovered, for example, the sharks are affected by the arrival of hurricanes. I've done enough hurricanes and I've done enough dives and I've done enough dives up to the arrival of the hurricane, depending on the days, to collect enough data. So then what we do is we separate all this different information to have a different knowledge and understanding. It ties into with the caves because the sharks, a lot of the species of the Bahamas are intercoastal sharks. We have a few pelagic species, but primarily we have intercoastal sharks. And so coast, people, land development, mangroves, they all go tie in together. Well, the caves are on land, but connect to the mangroves. I connected a cave in 2012 from land into the open ocean. It was the first one ever done in the world. And physically swam through it, which demonstrates if I can swim through it, particles of pollution and chemicals can do the same. And so by doing this, we've been using our technology, our cameras, our surveyor skills, our advanced cave diving skill, and we have proposed the expansion of a park over the entire cave, which we explored and mapped, and has been approved as last year. So again, is our passion, our work, it's paid, then we go and do this, and then we propose it, and then it gets promoting conservation. So my work in conservation, I don't have someone that said, you know what, Cristina, I'm just going to finance all of your work in conservation. But if the audience is somebody that is willing to do that, so we can 100% focus only on conservation, happy to do that. However, at the end of the day, what I do, teaching cave, teaching people to interact with sharks, being with sharks, it's still part of the conservation program. I find myself, I'm an educator at heart. I do countless podcasts, countless, even one-on-one Zoom calls with people that want to know a little bit more about how to go about this. And the education that we provide to the guests on hands-on makes them ambassadors for sharks, for caves, for conservation. My clients come from all sorts of parts of the world where I didn't learn the language. China, Japan, Russia. Right now I have Finland here. I've done Georgia in the former USSR. Same as done basically most of the countries in Europe, South America. And so these people, Indonesia, India, I'm trying to think all the Kuwait, Malaysia, Singapore. So these people come in and then they can transfer this in their own language and explain in a way that I could not explain it because I don't speak Greek and I don't speak Malay and I don't speak all those languages.
What I love about what you're saying is that, well, A, you've followed your passion. That seems to be a theme very clearly running through this. But to make it happen, a number of things are working together and overlapping. So you have your passion for sharks and for caves. And then you have the work that enables you to take people out and showcase them with education and then conservation. And one thing on its own is not enough, but they all support each other.
Correct.
And it's like, it's like a multifaceted career you've built for yourself that fits uniquely you.
Yes. And don't get me wrong. It starts from me working for a dive operation as a dive master.
Yeah. And that's the funding. Yeah.
It started with me guiding, a boat full of, what they call the kettle boats, 20 divers on the boat, and I get 8 of those divers. It started with me teaching Discover scuba diving. It started with teaching, maybe doing those jobs that I became then an operations manager, director of training. I had 23 people, 9 boats. When people say, why you don't want to do that anymore? It's kind of like, been there, done that. There's a triple check mark on it. Thank you, no thank you. It's me and my husband. We don't even own a boat. We charter a boat. And the reason why is I accumulated 23 years of experience running a dive operation of that magnitude. I've done all those jobs and now I know specifically what I want to select. So when people say, well, I want to do what you do, and it's just like, I am a course director, instructor, trainer, advanced cave instructor, rebreather cave. Those qualifications have not come in a year of dedication to scuba diving.
Hmm.
They took decades.
Mm.
Knowing where to take people in the cave, knowing an entire 34,400 feet of line in a cave
Mm.
means I swam those 34,400 feet of that cave, never mind all the other ones, several times over and over and over again.
Mm.
So that's where it is. At 22, you start, but then I'm sorry, but it's nose to the grindstone. You
Yeah.
have to do certain jobs that you might think, oh, well, this is beneath me. It's like nothing is beneath you.
Yeah.
Between 2019 and 2020, 2019, Hurricane Dorian, the most destructive hurricane I ever experienced on this island, and this island ever experienced in its lifetime, destroyed, basically submerged 75% of our island.
Oof.
3 days later, after 380 kilometers an hour winds, we surfaced to an island without firefighters, police, hospital, ambulance. 90% of the population had lost everything.
Oof.
Right? 4 months later, the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
Right? So I am tourism. My husband and I am tourism. And that's what people don't realize. So this is 2019. I started in 1994. 26 years, all of a sudden, I had nothing left in my hands.
Yeah.
Yes, people were trying to do Zoom things, or at the end of the day, we had nothing left. And the way we survived was to do menial jobs on the island
Hmm.
that had nothing to do with scuba diving.
Hmm.
And with those menial jobs allowed us to maintain the two of us and our three dogs.
Hmm.
In Italian, we say we pulled the oars in
Yeah.
and basically went on a complete food budget, behavioral budget. Like I remember after a year, as the money started flowing again, I looked at my husband and said, can we go and buy some scented candles, please?
Oh,
And people
that's
don't realize
awesome.
that. So while I was scrubbing the floors of a friend's home
Yeah.
to make a living, 26 years into my careers, on the side, we just discovered two brand new cave systems. So we were exploring, and we laid over $4,000 of cave line in these caves. Between the two caves, we laid over 15 miles of lines. The menial jobs kept us, and they're not menial, sorry. They were not the jobs that I signed up for,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
apologize. I shouldn't
No, I
say
get
they're
that.
menial
Yeah.
jobs.
Yeah. That's clear.
But the jobs that I did that most people will think, well, these are beneath me. There's nothing beneath anyone when they put money in the pocket,
Yeah.
right? Allowed us to stay on the island, allowed us to actually continue the exploration. And then as people start trickling in and say,
Mm.
hey, I'm by myself, but would you take me? I'll be like, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll
Yeah.
take you. And that is where I built what we have now. I started
Yeah.
saying yes to every little request. And then I
Yeah.
was just like, how am I going to shade that? And
Yeah.
so I will go and ask people for tanks, and then I will go and fill them here. And then for a year we had 20 boxes, storage boxes in our apartment, in our 600 square foot apartment. And we worked in and out of the apartment with the gear and the tanks. And then we built it up, and we're like, oh, why don't we try these trips? And so the concept is, this is not pity. This is trying to make people understand that you can plan,
Mm.
but the road might be interrupted or
Hmm.
completely destroyed. And but if you have your passion, your core obsession, and you have built those lateral skills,
Yeah.
that foundation,
Yeah.
as long as you can find a way to survive, then you continue to patch it on. And that's what you see now. You're correct. It's not one thing. It's not wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to remove hooks or sharks. It's this mix, it's this
Yeah.
patchwork of like extremely sometimes draining and tiring. And at certain points, like sometimes a lot of my attention is distracted. But as long as we follow that passion,
Yeah. Yeah.
they call it the gut feeling, and people go,
Yeah.
they kind of like sometimes, oh, gut feeling. It's like the gut feeling is real.
Yeah. 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 There's head, heart, and gut. Yeah. And it's what I'm hearing is like resilience determination, but also your passion's giving you clarity. You know the direction you want to go in, and it's just about what steps going to take to get there. They might be going around the side, but you're moving the direction where you're going. Yeah.
Correct. Like getting to a cave, so you have to machete
Yeah.
your way around the bush, so you can now go through the wasp nest. So if you're about to take down the bush and there's a giant wasp nest, you'll find a way around it.
I love that analogy. That's perfect. Yeah. Um, I watched some videos before we jumped on of some of the amazing work that you've done and some of the amazing interactions you have with sharks as well. And maybe I'll drop some links in so people can watch them themselves. You have sharks that just come up and just sort of lay down and really calmly just rest themselves on you, and you can take the hooks out there. You've taken several hundred hooks out of sharks, I heard and read. Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about how does that experience come about? Like, have you trained the sharks? Is that a relationship one-to-one with individuals? Just tell me about that interaction because it's really astonishing to see.
You're already answering your own questions.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
It's so no, it's beautiful. You actually have a very good perception. It is a relationship.
Right.
So, like any relationship, it comes about, it comes with time.
Yeah.
I usually joke, I tell people, you don't go on a speed dating, I've never done it, but like where you go in and you do the 3 minutes table by table,
Yeah.
coming out going, I am in a relationship with Nick,
Yeah.
right? You may say, I've met Nick, I really like him, but then you have to go on the first date, second date, 10th date, 11th date. But the true relationship, right, with the loved one comes with time,
Yeah.
but also with understanding of each other.
Hmm.
Right? We're trying to have not change them to suit you,
Hmm.
but like adapt to basically suit both of you.
Mm.
And I know it sounds strange to people when I talk about a relationship with sharks, but
Yeah.
it's no different. It's really interesting. We have demonstrated this, yes, with primates, yes, with dogs and horses and
Yeah.
cows, but we even have demonstrated this with arachnids as well as reptilians. So
Mm.
as humans, we have a little bit better understanding of what is, in our world. It's like, why not with underwater animals? They're actually intelligent. They have a capability of cognitive learning. And so there is an associative thought that they can have.
Yeah.
The shark that lays their head in my lap are the oldest, longest resident sharks on the site. They're not
Yeah.
the new girls that come in after 6 months. They take time and years. There was a girl called Hook. She'd been there for 13 years. She allowed me to pat her on the head, but never once laid in my lap.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that comes in after 6 months, she lays her head in my lap. So it depends on the animal,
Hmm.
their way of being, their energy. I don't like really to compare sharks to any other animals, but I think
Mm.
if there's cat owners in the audience, they'll understand this very precisely. You can have a cat living in your house that
Hmm.
will never jump on your lap.
Yep.
Or you might have a cat that jumps on your lap only when they feel like. And then
Yeah.
you have the super cuddly cat,
Yeah.
right? So it's the
Right.
same with sharks. There's a shark that will never come. And that's the way she is. And for me, is a matter of accepting that. But the foundation is time.
Yeah.
Dive site repetition, so the same presence, resilience, and patience and getting to know each other.
Yeah.
That is where the behaviorist job comes in, where I, like the ecology of sharks, shark ecology is cool. You study the sharks within their environment. I think one of the things is missing nowadays sometimes from ecology is the understanding that humans have interfered in any of the ecological systems.
Yeah.
So I think ecology should also have a tinge of like, well, how do people play a role in this? And so shark behaviorist joins this shark ecology into the sharks are agitated today. So in my log is, well, I noticed there was a fishing boat this way and a fishing boat that way. Or I do a dive and the sharks show up like this. On the second dive, after being 50 minutes on a boat, one of my girls, Crook, comes back with a hook. Oh
Mm.
yeah, there's a fishing boat over there.
Mm.
And so that has affected not only catching the hook, but our mood or energy when she comes back. So what
Mm.
is the influence of humans on shark presence and shark
Mm.
behavior on the water? In that case, with humans. But that is where it all ties in. It's just being on the water and watching them. And so understanding they don't function like us.
Mm.
So that's where shark ecology comes in. right? A lot of people go, oh, well, sharks do this. First of all, there's 540 different species of sharks.
Wow.
It's like saying that a sparrow or a hummingbird behaves like a bald eagle or an ostrich.
Yeah.
They don't. One doesn't even fly. Penguins don't fly. So not all birds fly. Well, not all sharks are apex predators. Not all sharks have teeth. Some grind, some filters, some suck their food, some sever, some swallow whole.
Yeah.
Some, yes, are apex predators, some are not. And so understanding each and every species, but understanding that within the species, there are individuals with energies, moods, shall we call them moods, attitudes, behaviors. It's key to understanding that this is not a one size fit all. This is not, somebody once told me, oh, sharks are like jaws at the end of nerve endings, and all they do is go around biting. It's kind of like the last thing they want to do is actually bite, because no predator wants to get injured in the act of predating. Because once they get injured, that prevents them from actually eating. And so they're very cautious, they're very careful, and is demonstrated on the extremely low number of shark bites on humans when humans enter their world. The problem with shark bites is they're so hyped up by the media that we think is like a regular occurrence. But when we start looking at numbers, it's like nothing compared to the millions and millions and millions of people that enter the ocean in all parts of the world every day.
Yeah.
But that's where the relationship comes. It's time spent together, and that in a certain way compromise that we do, and also on the land relationship, understanding each other.
Yeah.
And taking them for who they are. Like, if you're a true friend, you take your friend for who your friend is.
Yeah. 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 I like that. Yeah. Couple of questions are in my mind as we're talking about sharks. Before we talk perhaps careers advice and some bigger questions, and I'd love to hand over to our audience afterwards for their questions too. Have you ever been threatened by a shark, just out of interest? It seems you have such a nice relationship, but no, you say no.
I never felt that the shark was a threat to me and my presence. By being cautious around certain individuals, absolutely. I've been cautious when I was diving Cocos Island with Kevin, and it was by day 2, the dive guide was like, oh, if the two of you want to go off on your own, do your things. And for each site, they gave us a how to ascend. This one, push off the rocks, launch your SMB, or this one, there's a mooring line, please hang on to the mooring line, otherwise we're not going to find you. So each dive site, they gave us things. And so this one, they gave us these push off the rock and start drifting. So we don't like to swim a bunch. We love to sit. To watch behavior of animals, you have to sit and just wait. Right?
I've seen that.
It's not going from a water hole to the other on a safari. Just sit on the water hole. Things will happen. And so we were coming up, and all of a sudden, when the corner of my eye, I saw this very fast thing coming up, and there was as she came up, it was a tiger shark, right? A tiger shark at Cocos Island, not traditional, never seen them before, never heard about. And so she came in, and she started basically coming towards us, going, what is that floating in the middle of the ocean? And so we assumed vertical position, had the cameras in front of us. The moment she realized who we were, she was just kind of like gone.
Yeah.
And after she was gone, obviously we surfaced, we launched the SMB. And so it was not a matter of fear, but it was a matter of like understanding how a tiger shark works, a tiger shark that is not of our familiar dive site, a tiger shark that was coming to investigate something new. And so they're ambush predators. They come up vertically. So as we held the SMB, both of us just kept the face in the water. Because in case she arrived, all we had to do is basically look at her and say, no, I see you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a threat, it's an understanding of how they work and how they feel. But otherwise, no, I feel comfortable around sharks. At the end of the day, considering who they are, some of them, like we dive with 20-foot tiger sharks. We dive with a dozen tiger sharks sometimes. And a tiger shark is one of the most intense because they are ambush predators. So when they swim over your head, you have to turn around and say, I know you're there.
Yeah.
But even in that is just having an understanding of their behavior and what they do. And you can have fantastic interactions and take people down interacting with them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. Um, One more quick question on sharks then before
Sure.
some careersy questions and a wrap up. What's your view on shark feeding and cage diving? I have no opinions on it, but I'd love to hear yours. Are they good things for people to be doing? Should they go to a shark experience where you're feeding? Is it okay to be in a cage? I don't know. Is that good or bad? Because it might, I can see both sides.
Yes and no.
Yeah.
So yes, it's good. I do shark interactive dives. So I
Yeah.
bring down a little bit of fish in the tube. Bring about 5 fishes.
Hmm.
I think there's a very much incorrect perception of what we call shark feeding.
Hmm.
And that's why I think we should move away from that, right? Uh, I feed my dogs, otherwise they will starve.
Yes.
But no operators really feeds sharks. They bring down more of a treat, a scent, an
Yeah.
attraction.
Yeah.
What I realize is when you have the scent, you're telling the sharks, hey, this is an interactive dive.
Yeah.
I can actually, I've done it before where I left my customers down. I go up, take my chain suit off, go back in,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, yeah, this is now the interactive dive. And I'm swimming around with the same sharks that just earlier on came into my lap. So they very much recognize the same thing. Same as my
Yeah.
dogs are laying down in their beds now. But
Yeah.
if I were to go up and shake the leash,
Yeah.
they will come and sit ready to go on a walk. Does it
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
So that is one. The other one is like anything in life, there's good operators, there's bad operators.
Hmm.
So is shark tourism good? Yes, that's how I got the Bahamas to protect sharks here.
Yeah.
Through shark tourism, through a petition that I started, through basically showing how much money shark tourism brought,
Mm.
the Bahamian government in 2011 decided to create a marine sanctuary for all sharks all over the territory of the Bahamas.
Wow.
But there's good operators and bad operators, and that I think that is the issue. Some people do shark interactive dives without really understanding the sharks.
Yeah.
And so the rules and regulations of doing these things are very lax. Sometimes they involve a little bit too much machismo.
Hmm.
Sometimes they involve too much of the personal ego of the individual on what the sharks can do for their image,
Hmm.
rather than is what can I do with the sharks? What is my goal here? My goal here is to have the sharks swim around people and have a great time and being able to take pictures and watch them and learn something. There's no need to create any rodeo agitations, crazy actions. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
Same goes for cage diving. I believe in cage diving when we're talking about apex predators like a great white. Now,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong. Can we go swimming without a cage with a great white? Yes. It
Hmm.
can be done. It has been done. It's been done from 30 years ago from Andre Hartman in South Africa and Mike Ratson. They did it plenty time. They took people. The difference is, can we commercialize
Mm.
going without a cage with a great white? And again, hopefully that myth would also be busted. When I started 30 years ago, we didn't think we could go without a cage with tigers.
Mm.
Now we swim and interact with 20, 12 tiger sharks at Tiger Beach without any issues, right?
Mm.
But with great whites, I still do believe that if you want to bring whoever walks in, certified diver, a cage is a good perspective.
Hmm.
Instead of putting the animals in the cage, let's put
Yes.
the people in the animal environment in a safe place so they can observe these animals without
Yeah.
having any issues or risks. The problem with cage diving is those episodes where the operator drags the fish towards the cage, the shark chases
Mm.
the fish,
Mm.
ends up in the cage damaged. And
Mm.
so we go back to who are you doing this with? Because all you need is for the great white to swim in front of the cage.
Yeah.
There's no need for aerobic mouth open. There's no need for crazy
Yeah.
behaviors. And so is no longer about the activity. I do believe in the activities.
Yeah.
It's on the operator. So how do we identify an operator? I actually have a full presentation on how to identify the correct operators to go on correct shark dives. But one of the things you could do is go on their Instagram or Facebook or accounts and see how they propose the videos. Is it a gentle interaction? Do you see sharks swimming over their heads? Go on my Instagram as a comparison. Do you ever see mouth open and crazy behaviors? Besides when I remove hooks, they get agitated. But or do you just see sharks are swimming around people?
Yeah.
What is their verbiage used?
Yeah.
Is it about the ooh-ha or it's about the true spirit and nature? So you can tell a lot about an operator on
Mm,
what they push and
mm,
what they quote unquote sell
mm-hmm,
through their social media. What is their vibe?
mm,
It's an interactive vibe. It's an adrenaline junkie vibe.
mm, mm,
Some people might go for the adrenaline junkie. Some people might go for the excitement. Some people might deflect and go towards no, I just want to see them swimming around me in a comfortable manner. I know they might be attracted by some of the work of the operator, but it's just very much a special, unique moment. So I am pro
yeah.
shark dive and pro shark dive tourism
Yeah.
when done with conscience. And here are
Yeah.
the three rules. Then I leave you, then you can ask that questions. It has to be safe for the people on the dive,
Yeah.
staff and customers alike. It has to be safe for the people that go there before and after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it has to be safe for the sharks. And in order to be safe for the sharks, it has to be safe for point one and two.
Yeah. I love that. Really practical advice as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. And before we hand over to our lovely audience, a final question, like what if someone's listening and they'd love to not necessarily follow in your footsteps, but they'd love to work in marine conservation, they'd love to follow their own passion. What tips or advice would you give someone like that?
So the first one is that I actually did a 5 point advice on Instagram the other day, and then I elaborate on it. Use the tools that you have. I give you an example. I just had a lady that contacted me, and she's 30 years old, so very young. And she said, I'm tired of doing this here. I would really love to do conservation.
Mm.
And doing this is, she's actually a school teacher,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I gave her two suggestions. One is, have you even ever tried to live on an island? Have you even ever tried to live? Because when you think Bahamas, they always show the turquoise water and the flat, calm sand beach, but they don't tell you all the behind the scenes, how expensive it is, how difficult it is to receive things, hurricanes, all of that.
Yeah.
But is try to go and live on an island within the parameters of living on an island,
Yeah.
not as a tourist, not on a
Yeah.
cruise, like really live. One, see if the experience of being out on the boat every day, under the sun, under the rain, is something that you like. The other one is, well, how do you get there? Let's say you really like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Use the tools that you have.
Yeah.
Mine were languages. She's a
Yeah.
school teacher. I mean, I cannot think of anyone better than,
Yeah.
for example, school teachers, nurses,
Yeah.
doctors, people of that caliber that can come in countries like this and receive a work permit,
Yeah.
receive a support from the government, say, oh, definitely, we need a doctor.
Yeah.
Here's your work permit. And then slowly can start working in conservation. Yes, of course, they still have to work as doctors, but
Yeah.
then eventually they might find they have their foot through the door. They
Yeah.
are on the island or in the place, Costa Rica, wherever they want to be. And then somebody may go, hey, would you like to do this project? And again, like you said
Yeah.
before, patch it up. That would be
Yeah.
my two suggestions. One, go and try it out.
Yeah.
If you have the financial and time capability, give it a try.
Yeah.
Put your hands into what you think will be your dream job.
Yeah.
Because I remember years ago, I hosted a young lady and she wanted to work with sharks as a scientist and all of that. But even the people that do, like shark tagging and all that. And
Mm.
I took her to the freezer
Mm-hmm.
and she was just kind of like, ew, what is that smell? And I'm like, oh, that is how you work with sharks. It's
Yeah.
called fish,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And she was completely disgusted by the smell of fish.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, well, I guess you would find out very quickly that maybe working in a shark science research, fishing sharks to tag them and collect data is not for you,
Yeah. And
right?
good to know that soon. Yeah.
And good to know that soon. So that is the practical advice. Use the tools you have. What do you have that allows you to get closer to your goal,
Yeah.
to have a foot through the door, to maybe do half and half,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Try it out,
Mm-hmm.
right? If then we're talking about a study point of view, is do you really know what your study will bring you to do? Because a lot of young people email me and they said, oh, I want to be a marine biologist.
Mm-hmm.
I said, do you realize that for every 3 weeks of marine biology in the field, you'll have 6 months of office and data and crunching numbers and writing, right? A lot of people think that marine biologist is like this being out on the water and in the water, under the water every day and all day. And it's kind of like, it's not. It's like a 10% of your entire job. But then marine biology in itself, you need at least a master to start have specification in marine biology, because at the bachelor level you do zoology, biology, maybe environmental science, but you are not a marine biologist. You receive a generalized information, and it's at the master level that you start specifying.
Yep.
But furthermore, even in some places you might need a PhD to really specify into the specific marine biology. So when people say, well, I really want to do marine biology, do you even know what it is? So my next suggestion is to do what some of these people do, is email me, but not say, hey, tell me your life story, which I said 30 times, 300 times over, and just, I want to know it all, is ask specific questions. How does your day look like? What are the jobs you are doing to do the thing I see on Instagram? Right? What is the jobs that you have to do that you never talk about, but they're fundamental for you to do this one? What are the hardships? Those are the questions you should ask the people that you admire someone. Ask them, what are your hardships? And then when they say their hardships, and that's one of the biggest problem on social media, if I sat there and says, these are my hardships, people will go, oh, boo-hoo, you work where I go on vacation. But we have hardships.
Yeah.
There's always a price to pay for everything you want to do. You want to be a multimillionaire? There's a price to pay, right? What is your ticket price? And so find about the hardships. For me, yes, there are hardships. I will list our hardships, but I still put up with them because they allow me to do what I really love to do. For others, many others that I've seen coming through the same job, the same path, at a certain point, the hardships made them go, enough. This is enough. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I am leaving. I'm going to find something else for which hardships actually fit for what I want. And that is what it is. It's a balance between the hardships, the price you want to pay, and what you receive. Some people want to wear Louboutin, Gucci, have a big car and a big house. There's nothing wrong with that if they're willing to put up with the hardships that comes with.
A great point to end on. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, for your passion, for your energy, for your commitment for conservation sharks as well. It's been lovely talking to you, get to know you.
We'll have to do another one about caves.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we've not touched on that, but I'd love to know more.
It's all good.
That's perhaps for another conversation. Thank you.
Yes.
And people can obviously look up your work, and actually linking to that, where should people go if they want to find out more about you, to connect with you, to see some of the amazing work, perhaps even look at your kind of shark and cave diving work as well? Where should they go?
I am on I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X as Cristina Zenato, Cristina without an H.
Yep.
And then I have a YouTube. I kind of like lack on posting up videos. And then my two websites are CristinaZenato.com. And then my nonprofit, where you see more of the cave work, is a POWnonprofit.org.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, which is People of the Water, isn't it? Yeah.
People of the Water, yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you again, Cristina. It's been lovely talking to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that, everyone. If you did, then please do hit the subscribe button to get notified of new episodes as they drop. And also, please give us a rating or a review, because it really helps us to get in front of more people, and we really enjoy reading them all. As you'll have heard, our podcasts are now recorded in front of a live audience who sit in and listen to the chat, and then after the mics are turned off, they get a chance to talk to the host, to share their thoughts, and also to ask questions. It's a really great format. If you'd like to be in the audience, all you need to do is join the Conservation Careers Academy. Now, in the Conservation Careers Academy, you'll get full access to the world's biggest conservation job board, listing over 15,000 jobs, volunteer and internships across the globe each year. You'll also enjoy access to our amazing CC Pro private members community with regular events, networking and support. Plus, you'll get full access to our growing library of career-boosting resources, guides and templates. And best of all, it only costs a few dollars, euros or pounds per month to join the Academy. Now, to find out more, please visit conservation-careers.com/academy or simply click the join button at the top of our website. See you on the inside.